The Brewers season is now over, as after a terrible offensive performance in the NLCS, led the Crew to be swept by the Dodgers in what was a very easy sweep for LA. But don't let that take away from an excellent season from the 2025 Milwaukee Brewers, as in the year of remembering Bob Uecker turned into the Crew winning a franchise record 97 games and winning their first playoff series since 2018. And for the vast majority of the season, the Brewers offense led the way, having a league-best run differential and the most runs scored in the season. And in this video, we're going to go over each of the Brewers' catchers and infielders and grade how they did in the 2025 season. The grading system is as followed. A is for players that had an all-star or award-winning caliber of the season. B is for players that had a really good season. C is for players that had an average season. D is for players that had a disappointing season. And F is for players that were a negative for the team for the vast majority of their appearances. So let's get started with the Brewers' Iron Man catcher, William Contreras. It was a bit of a down season for the Brewers' two-time Silver Slugger winning catcher, William Contreras. But when you're one of the best catchers of all of baseball, even when you have a bit of a down year, you still had a really good season. It was a bit of a slow start for Contreras, as while dealing with a pretty gnarly finger injury that impacted his hitting ability. He was hovering around the 240 batting mark until late July and did not have the same power that we saw in the first two seasons with the Brewers. But when the calendar turned over to August, we got the old William Contreras back, as in the final 49 games of the season, Contreras had a slash line of 279, 368 with 500, with 9 doubles and 11 home runs as the Brewers put away their division lead. He also had a really solid season on defense as well, being a plus defender behind the dish, a good pitch framer, and better at throwing out runners on the base pass. Overall, for his season, Contreras appeared in 150 games, with 128 of those being starts at catcher, having a slash line of 260, 355, 399, with 147 hits, 28 doubles, 17 home runs, 76 RBIs, 89 runs scored, 6 steals, an OPS of 754, an OPS plus of 111, and a B-WAR value of 3.9. Baseball Savant gave him a batting run value of 78, which is great, a base running run value of 11, which is poor, and a fielding run value of 75, which is great. Contreras was also a key factor in the Brewers' playoff run against the Cubs, having 2 big home runs that helped secure the series victory. For his 2025 season, I'm giving Contreras a grade of B, as though he did have a down season for his standards. Wild Bill still had a very good season as one of the Brewers' best players, and was key for the Brewers' victory over the Cubs. Hopefully, after a full offseason for his finger to heal up, he can get off to a better start to next season, as a fully healthy William Contreras is one of the best players in all of baseball. Coming into the season as the Brewers' backup catcher, Haas didn't have the most exciting season, and in fact got replaced as the Brewers' backup catcher at the trade deadline. Eric wasn't contributing much with his bat, hitting way below his 2024 numbers while not being exactly the best behind the plate. He was sent back to AAA after the trade to acquire Danny Jansen, and didn't appear with the Brewers the rest of the season. For his season, Haas appeared in 30 games, having a slash line of 229, 289, 357, with 16 hits, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 11 runs scored, an OPS of 647, an OPS plus of 80, and a B-WAR value of 0.2. Baseball Savant gave him a poor grade for both batting run value and fielding run value, while having an above-average base running run value. For his 2025 season, I'm giving Haas a grade of D, as he really wasn't that much of a contributor for the Brewers, but he's not an F, as he didn't really negatively impact the team as much as some other players did this season. The Brewers looked to make some fringe additions at this year's trade deadline, and backup catcher was one spot they decided to go after. To do this, they acquired Danny Jansen from the Tampa Bay Rays, who was hitting for pretty good power with 11 home runs on the season. And he was a solid option for the Brewers, providing some good at-bats while giving William Contreras some much-needed rest. For his time with the Brewers, Jansen had a slash line at 254, 346, 433, with 17 hits, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 10 runs scored, an OPS of 779, an OPS plus of 117, and a B-WAR value of 0.7. Baseball Savant gave him an average grade for batting run value and poor grades for both base running value and fielding run value. For his time with the Brewers, I'm giving Jansen a grade of C, as he was perfectly average for the Brewers in the short time he was with the team. It'll be interesting to see what the Brewers do for their backup catcher in 2026. They could bring back Jansen, but I would imagine they would try to bring up Jefferson Cuero, their top catching prospect, to replace Jansen as the primary backup to William Contreras. With the contract that the Brewers signed Rhys Hoskins to prior to the 2024 season, you would expect a bit more out of him in his 2 years as a Brewer. Opting into his $18 million player option for the season, the start of the year wasn't too kind to Hoskins, as he was hitting just 182 with no home runs in the middle of April. But he started to get hot, hitting 300 by the middle of May and finding his power stroke, hitting 7 home runs in that month's span. But he went on a massive cold streak to the beginning of July, and with his batting average hitting .242 before he went on the injured list with a UCL sprain and bone bruise. He came back in September, but after the emergence of Andrew Vaughn and Jake Bauers having a really nice end to the season, Hoskins was limited to just being a pinch hitter and was left off the playoff roster entirely. For his 2025 season, Hoskins appeared in 90 games, having a slash line of .237, .332, .416, with 66 hits, 12 doubles, 1 triple, 12 home runs, 43 RBIs, 30 runs scored, 2 steals, an OPS of 748, an OPS plus of 108, and a B-WAR value of .9. Baseball Savant gave him an average run grade for batting run value and fielding run value, and a poor grade for base running run value. For his 2025 season, I'm going to give Hoskins a grade of C+, as early on in the season, he was one of the only players on offense that was helping keep this team afloat, and was on pace to having a pretty solid season before injuries and the emergence of a surprising star at first limited the amount of Hoskins could contribute down the stretch. I would imagine this is the last we have seen of Hoskins in a Brewers uniform, as he's going to be a free agent this offseason. And with the emergence of Andrew Vaughn and the versatility of Jake Bauers, the Brewers don't need to bring back the slugging first baseman. When the Brewers traded away disgruntled star Aaron Civale to the White Sox in exchange for the former top 5 pick first baseman Andrew Vaughn, no one could have imagined the impact that Vaughn would have on the Brewers and what the Brewers would also do to Vaughn. After spending some time in the minors where he worked on his plate discipline, Vaughn was called up to the Brewers' active roster in early July to replace the injured Rhys Hoskins. And to say that the debut went way better than expected is an understatement, as he hit a massive home run in his very first at-bat against the Dodgers, and he never looked back. King Vaughn was a revelation for the Brewers, adding some much-needed pop to the Brewers lineup for the remainder of the season, as he had 9 home runs by the middle of August. His home run total cooled down, but he was still a productive member of the lineup all throughout September. Vaughn was a key contributor in the Brewers series over the Cubs, having a 3-run home run in Game 2, and had the go-ahead solo home run in the series-clinching Game 5 of the matchup. But unfortunately, like most of the Brewers lineup, Vaughn went silent against the Dodgers at the end of the playoffs. For his 2025 season with the Brewers, Vaughn appeared in 64 games, having a slash line of .308, .375, .493 with 68 hits, 14 doubles, 9 home runs, 46 RBIs, 26 runs scored, an OPS of .869, an OPS plus of 141, and a B-WAR value of 1.3. Baseball Savant gave him a 29 for batting run value, a 17 for base running run value, and a 58 for fielding run value, though these numbers also taken his terrible time with the White Sox as well. For his 2025 season, I'm giving Vaughn a grade of A+, as he was such a wonderful addition that the Brewers were able to get pretty much for nothing. I cannot wait to see a full season of Vaughn in a Brewers uniform, and I expect that he will continue his ascent as a baseball player. The ascension of Bryce Turang into baseball stardom continued into the 2025 season, as after a really good 2024 season, he turned in an excellent 2025, as the offensive strides continued for the Brewers' second baseman. Turang was a constant presence in his Brewers lineup, hitting around 300 for almost the entire season, and found his power stroke as well, as for the first time in his career, Turang crossed the double-digit home run total. His best month by far was August, where he had 10 home runs, while also hitting .343 and winning NL Player of the Month for August. Turang did this while still being one of the best base runners in the league, though not as prolific as 2024 season when he had over 50 stolen bases, and continued to play Gold Glove caliber defense at second base. Though in the playoffs, the Bryce Turang in 2023 came back as he really struggled throughout the entirety of the Brewers' run. For his 2025 season, Turang appeared in 156 games, having a slash line of .288, .359, .435, with 168 hits, 29 doubles, 2 triples, 18 home runs, 81 RBIs, 97 runs scored, 24 steals, an OPS of 794, an OPS plus of 121, and a team-leading B-WAR value of 5.5. Baseball Savant gave him an 80 for base running run value, batting run value, an 84 for base running run value, and a 50 for fielding run value. Turang was also named a finalist for both the Gold Glove, which went to Nico Hoerner of the Cubs for his excellent defensive season, and the Silver Slugger Award, which went to Ketel Marte of the Diamondbacks, being an excellent second baseman as well. For his 2025 season, I'm giving Turang a grade of A-, as he had a fantastic regular season where he found his power stroke to have a career-high 18 home runs. But his playoff struggles dropped his grade down from an A for me. But I am so excited to see him in 2026 as he continues to be better each and every season and looks to be a core member of this Brewers team as a Gold Glove and Silver Slugger caliber second baseman for years to come. What a disappointing season it was for Joey Ortiz. Looking to replace the production of Willy Adames after he left in free agency for the Giants, Ortiz was an offensive crater in the Brewers lineup, though his defense at short was nothing short of incredible. Even though his stats are similar to his 2024 season, it just seemed like Ortiz could never deliver in the big moments, as he went just 5 for 30 with the bases loaded and often was not being able to make contact. His pitch selection was also questionable, as he often would just stare at pitchers that were right down the middle and then swing at a pitch down in the dirt or like 5 feet above the zone. The main thing saving him, though, was his defense, as according to Baseball Savant, Ortiz was a top 6 shortstop in the game and outs above average, and there were several highlight plays that he made in the field that looked absolutely insane. For his 2025 season, Ortiz appeared in 149 games, having a slash line of 230, 276, 317, with 108 hits, 18 doubles, 1 triple, 7 home runs, 45 RBIs, 62 runs scored, 14 steals, an OPS of 593, an OPS plus of 66, and a B-WAR value of 0.3. Baseball Savant gave Ortiz a 6 for batting run value, a 74 for base running run value, and an insane 93 for fielding run value. For his 2025 season, I'm giving Ortiz a grade of D+. His offensive production leaves a lot to be desired, but he transformed into one of the elite defensive shortstops in the league. If he can play an average hitter like how Bryce Turang did in 2024, Ortiz would be a very valuable member of the Brewers in 2026. It was an interesting season for Monasterio, as he wasn't really a part of this Brewers team until mid-June, as he was called up to provide some infield depth. And he argued that he was a far superior shortstop to Joey Ortiz, especially offensively, as Monasterio posted the best numbers of his career. He was also pretty solid defensively as well, providing versatility at shortstop, second base, and first base. For his 2025 season, Monasterio appeared in 68 games, having a slash line of 270, 319, 437, with 34 hits, 9 doubles, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, 19 runs scored, 2 steals, an OPS of 755, an OPS plus of 109, and a B-WAR value of 0.8. Baseball Savant gave him an average grade for batting run value and fielding run value, and a poor grade for base running run value. For his 2025 season, I'm giving Monasterio a grade of B, as he had a really nice season as a Brewers utility man, and also provided his best season offensively. It'll be interesting to see what his role will be next season, as the Brewers have a ton of infield prospects coming up in the pipeline. Well, that was a pretty surprising season for the Brewers rookie third baseman. Acquired in the Devin Williams trade, Durbin was seen as a guy that wouldn't get much playing time for the Brewers in 2025. Boy, were we wrong, as Durbin had a fantastic season as the Brewers third baseman. There were some definite learning curves, though, as Durbin struggled both at the plate and as a defender. But around late June, Durbin started going on a hot streak, becoming one of the most valuable Brewers during their playoff push. He also had a pretty solid postseason for Milwaukee, being one of the only players that actually produced during the Dodgers series, where he had 2 doubles for the crew. For his 2025 season, Durbin appeared in 136 games, having a slash line of 256, 334, 387, with 114 hits, 25 runs, doubles, 11 home runs, 53 RBIs, 60 runs scored, 18 steals, an OPS of 721, an OPS plus of 101, and a league-leading 24 hit by pitches, and a B-WAR value of 2.8. Baseball Savant gave him an average grade for both batting run value and fielding run value, and a great grade of base running run value. For his 2025 season, I'm going to give Dave Durbin a grade of A, as he had a really solid rookie season that saw him become a finalist for the NL Rookie of the Year award. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he has in store for the team in 2026, as I think he can get even better than what he is. Seigler was called up by the Brewers in early July as an injury replacement and never really got an opportunity to be a starter for Milwaukee. He was mainly used as a pinch hitter for his time with the Brewers, while also getting some spot starts at third base as well. It was hard for Seigler to get any form of consistency at the plate, and it really showed. He also got a bit unlucky at times, as when a young infielder did hit the ball hard, it was often right to a defender. When Rhys Hoskins was called back up in early September, Seigler was sent back down to AAA. For his 2025 season, Seigler appeared in 34 games, having a slash line of 194, 292, 210, with 12 hits, 1 double, 5 RBI, 6 runs scored, 2 steals, an OPS of 501, an OPS plus of 44, and a BWAR value of -0.1. Baseball Savant gave him a poor grade for batting run value and an average grade for both base running run value and fielding run value. For his 2025 season, I have to give Seigler a grade of F, as he had a negative impact on this team, mainly because his bat was just not up to par at the major league level. I doubt we'll see much of Seigler in the majors in 2026, as the Brewers have a ton of great talent coming up in the infield. Coming off an amazing spring training where an incredible power surge led Capra to winning the Brewers starting third base job. But he quickly lost it as Capra was absolutely awful at the plate, hitting below 100, not even the Mendoza line, by the time the Brewers designated him for assignment in early May. He did have a pretty cool moment with Milwaukee though, hitting the first home run of the season, and the first home run call since legendary broadcaster Bob Uecker passed away. He finished the season with a White Sox organization after being let go by Milwaukee. For his 2025 season with the Brewers, Capra appeared in 24 games, having a slash line of .074, 121, 130, with 4 hits, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 5 runs scored, an OPS of 250, and an OPS plus of -30, and a BWAR value of -0.6. Baseball Savant gave him a poor grade for batting run value and average grade for base running value and fielding run value. And for his 25 season, I'm giving Capra a grade of F-, as he was an absolutely awful player. I would be surprised if he ever gets another chance to play in the majors again after this terribly awful season. So that is it for this video, going over the Brewers catchers and infielders. Next one coming up on the docket is the Brewers outfielders, so stick around for that. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Peace.